Hello, everyone. Welcome to Picks and Bans for the Wombo Combo Wombats and the Goon Squad. I am Mr. Hernandez Teachers, and I am joined here today by Rogue Otters. So,
hey, how's it going?
Looking at this this pick and ban phase, what do you notice about the two teams?
I think the couple things that stick out to me, we have Zed, so Assassin, which doesn't seem a whole lot of organized play, but if you can get ahead, if you know how to play the team fights, can be really deadly. Both teams are kind of a pick team, although I would say team fighting probably more heavy on the Goon Squad. They can just absorb more blows. And then the Mordecais are also fared pretty well into the Garen top lane, but again, it needs to snowball, otherwise it's kind of useless.
Yeah, as I'm looking at these picks and bans, especially the picks right now, I'm looking at it and it just kind of seems that the Wombo Combo Wombats are really going to have like that pick potential, and it's going to really come down to the Ash arrows coming over for the Goon Squad. So those are landing. I think that's going to be really effective for them.
For sure. Yeah, a lot of it will come down to Morgana being able to get the Black Shield on the right targets and making sure those Ash arrows are effective.
Yeah, coming out of it, I think the Mordecais and the Garen should be a pretty even lane. Both of those can really, though, pop off. So if one player just really outclasses the other in the top lane, we'll see a really hectic outcome from there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and give us a moment, and we're going to get right into game. All right, and we're jumping into the match here. Nothing too crazy coming out from any of the purchases. What I do notice about the Veigar, though, is that he does have the minion dematerializer. Do you think that's a standard pick for him? That's a lot of buttons he's really going to have to push early on.
Yeah, I think he likes to try to get all the items he can possibly get at early level. I think it's pretty useful just for the wave player, makes sure that you can either W the entire backline, the caster minions.
Right.
But it makes sense. The stopwatch is pretty standard into the Zed matchup. You're going to be looking for pretty early Zonias. Yeah, and it looks like pretty standard start to nothing crazy in terms of invasion. Neither team really has a great level one.
What I do notice is between the two teams is coming out from the Wombo Combo Wombats, they do have the two teleports against no teleports coming out from the Goon Squad. So Garen with Ignite and Zed with Ignite. Zed's not really surprising, but the Garen won't be able to join team fights. So they're really playing for lane dominance. So that might play out in favor for the Goon Squad if they're a bit too goony in the lane.
For sure. That being said, if the Wombo Combo Wombats can take advantage of both teleports, get the team spread out, really get their side lanes moving correctly, that's a huge advantage for them.
Right.
So pretty standard leashes, it looks like.
Yeah, nothing too crazy coming out from the jungle. Trundle heading over to take the blast cone over to the blue buff. Whereas we see Volibear on the other side going straight to the Gromp, probably heading over to the red buff. So looking at this bot lane, we know that the two supports can be really volatile, but who has the early advantage between the Misfortune and Ashe?
Ashe just showed so much harder with her AoE level 1. not a lot of people stand up to Misfortune, but level 1 actually, I think Ash has the advantage. As you can see, Misfortune. Really, if Morgana can land a clean binding, that's kind of how the lane will go. But until Misfortune has
we do see the Misfortune taking about half of her HP early on here. Really going down 3 CS isn't going to be too helpful in terms of getting that big power spike that she needs. But she does land some effective Qs onto that Ashe as well. But we do see aggression in the top lane as the Garen going down to a quarter health, but the Volibear there to match, getting in on the Trundle. Trundle not flashing away, not respecting the Volibear as the Volibear comes in and really does a ton of damage as Garen ignites the Mordekaiser on the way out.
Ends up being a summoner skill disparity, but coming away with a kill, especially on Volibear, who seems like he wants to snowball early. From what a little bit. That's huge. That's a big spike. Plus he refreshes his double buffs. Can't hurt that either. Looks like he's ganking mid now.
Yeah, I'm looking at the mid lane. Just without the flash, you really can't get in, and the Veigar really doesn't have anything to worry about in terms of that. But an excellent ward. Do you see this ward?
Yep.
Just really catching that pathing, and the Veigar going for a subtle attack towards bot lane, but that ward from the Volibear, very clean. Really going to support that bot lane.
Yeah, Red seems to have a much better handle on forward vision control. They have a lineup through the river, essentially securing all vision bot side, and then having secured both scuttles is huge. And just for a good measure, another ward from the top laner.
Yeah, it looks like they're coming out. We see the 4 wards around the Dragon Pit. Do you think that's going to be something that the Volibear goes for early?
Well, it's a cloud group, which, no one loves, but except maybe supports. I can imagine with all the pressure they seem to have bot now, they've got the lane shoved in, relatively healthy. Volibear can clear out the pink ward and really probably solo that early with his gold from his kill.
Yeah. Interesting. Volibear getting some buffs in this last patch, and we are playing on the most current patch. I think, 10.12? So definitely more buffs coming in for the Volibear as people are starting to get the hang of this new Volibear. So we'll see if those actually come into play to help them out. As we do see a fight happening in the bot lane, Volibear going on to the Trundle. Trundle flashing away this time. Morgana looking for push it too far ahead. The Morgana goes down to the stun from the Brand. Some damage coming out from the Misfortune, but not enough to really push him away. The Brand takes a turret shot, but an easy kill onto the Morgana. She hit the binding onto the Ashe, but Ashe was already too far away for the Trundle and the Misfortune to follow up. This might be a mistake from the Misfortune, as Misfortune has to flash away as she takes a ton of damage. She's going to have to recall, and she does not have enough gold for that first recall BF sword, so that's really going to put her down to this Ashe.
So one thing that's pretty interesting, Volibear did a ton of healing, and I believe that's from the Conqueror stacks, which he actually can stack his Conqueror pretty quickly in those engages, even though they're relatively short, all things considered. He did a lot of healing in that fight. It's pretty interesting to see. I don't know too much about the new champion.
Yeah.
Since the rework.
Does he have an auto attack reset from one of his abilities? Or does his Q count as an auto attack? That might happen.
I think it's his W.
Okay.
Pay attention the next time he goes in.
So huge lead for the Volibear right now. 2-0, 150 gold bounty. Really coming out to an early lead, which is going to be beneficial. And then interesting, the Mordekaiser just goes down to the ultimate from Garen, as just not respecting the amount of damage that the Garen can put out, not even using his ignite.
Yeah, Garen, even without the ignite Q auto with the E followed by the ult, stack and conquer the whole way again. and now coming back with Phage, he's going to be even stronger to just an Amp Tome and Ruby Crystal on Mordekaiser. That may set the tone for the rest of the lane phase, unfortunately, for Mordekaiser.
Yeah, definitely. 1-0-1, almost double CS on the Garen. Definitely a huge lead. 800 gold up right now. So that's definitely going to be helpful. As we see the Volibear invading, stealing over this red buff, but blue team just not responding to this steal and just lets it happen. As we see Ashe go with an arrow into the Misfortune. The Black Shield coming out too late. Misfortune trying to turn it around, takes too much damage. Very close to taking down the Ashe as the Volibear comes in with his ultimate, but nothing happening after that. Morgana gets away, but not enough damage. You can see that the Ashe has the Caulfield's Warhammer, but maybe the BF sword was there. That might have been the difference maker.
For sure. Also, if Morgana gets her ignites down in that fight, possibly stems a little bit of that healing. It's really important in the beginning of fights for supports to make sure they get that debuff down, especially if they know heals up.
Yeah, the Black Shield coming in late and the no ignite, maybe that could have been a difference in terms of Ashe turning that around. That was a lot of damage that the Misfortune put out.
Yeah, especially level 5. Beating them to the all-important level 6, get your ultimate. To be honest, there's a bit of a CS discrepancy across the board. You've got 20 CS lead in the top lane, 20 in the jungle, about a wave and a half mid, and then another 10 bot lane. Goon Squad's definitely having their way early in this one.
Again, with the vision coming out with the Goon Squad, Volibear seems pretty safe to come over onto this Rift Herald. Just knocking it down as we see another death. I missed it. Another death coming out for that Garen against that Mordekaiser top lane matchup. This time using the Ignite and the Ultimate and the Flash. As we see Veigar coming over to check this Rift Herald. Great decision as we see the bot lane for the Wombo combo Wombats roaming up, but they're going to be too late. Rift Herald is not going to be taken. Zed chasing the Veigar, but Veigar getting away in this fight. Misfortune's trying to push out the mid wave, but coming over, worried about this Rift Herald going down. As Ashe and the Brand have a ton of time on this bot lane turret.
Yeah, they'll probably get at least another, unless they just use this time to reset.
Yeah.
That was tough. That was a 3v2. Good on the trying to pick up the kill and get them off the Rift Herald at the expense of Flash, but definitely, not seeing the fact that their top laner wasn't there and they were outnumbered. Probably should have just given that one up.
Yeah, and speaking about the Rift Herald, as we see the Trundle move on to the Rift Herald right now, and there's no vision on the Goon Squad to check this. But you normally get Rift Herald for like the early plate, the early tower, but that's not really an effective trade when they lost so much in bot lane.
Yeah.
As we see 4 members of the Goon Squad roaming to the bot lane, as the Garen comes in against the Trundle, doing a lot of damage. Trundle does kill the Rift Herald and just walks away with the eye of the Rift Herald. Not a problem. As we see Ashe coming in with an arrow onto the Veigar, the ultimate from the Zed. Zed getting the ultimate kill, and then Volibear jumping in with the ultimate, getting the execution down onto the Veigar as he goes down 0-1. Veigar getting his the Volibear getting his 3rd kill on the Veigar this game.
That was an impressive collapse. Yeah, no respect from the mid laner, Wombo. They sort of saw the 4 hovering bot. And just not realizing the Ashe arrow could come out of nowhere and snipe him like that. Drake coming up. He does have TP. Looks like we have a TP play. Nope, going mid.
We see some damage coming in on bot lane, but not really much turning out into it.
Nice
Aggression onto the Wombo combo Wombats, but they get out pretty clean with just flash blown from the Misfortune. As we see Mordekaiser extremely low in the top lane. We'll see if he sticks around. He's sticking around actually up there. He only has like 200 HP.
Yeah, it looks like Garen used ults, but his ignites up and
he's doing the straight into a minion wave and just like that Q, just goes down immediately to it. Yeah, that minion wave was huge. He ended up just killing himself on the minion wave. As we see Morgana dying immediately to the brand as she tries to get a word out, but again, the Goon Squad has a stranglehold on this vision game right now.
Yeah, this is a
what do you think the Wombo Combo Wombats have to do against this vision game? Because they have no control in their jungle. As you see the Veigar just getting collapsed on in the mid lane as the Ash Arrow comes out. Great Ash Arrow landing onto the Veigar. A lot of damage coming out. Let's see if he gets away. The ultimate from the brand doing a ton of damage. And again, the Volibear getting the last slap onto the Veigar. 0-2 now for the Veigar. 4-1 onto the Volibear. And we see the Ash 150 gold bounty, 1-0-3.
To answer your question, definitely not push up. They need to just get control in their own jungle right now. They're about to lose mid lane, which is going to make it harder. But getting some control wards down right around red and by Tribush, and then slowly pushing out wards into the Rift.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think the Trundle should be dropped in the Rift Herald at this point? Now that first Herald's already been taken for the Goon Squad.
At this point, he has... he's got about a quarter left in it. Probably just try to shove mid since it looks like a collapsing bot. If he can see that, he should go path right to mid and just drop it. Put a little pressure there.
Sorry,
instead, unfortunately, we're seeing... It's okay. Unfortunately, we're seeing just skirmishes, bot lane, and a lot of wasted time, to be honest.
Now, is that for the Goon Squad or the blue Wombo Combo Wombats?
Wombo Combo. Goon Squad has the liberty kind of just to wait around here. They really have nothing.
Yeah, we do see that 8,000 gold lead coming in for them. That is a lot of damage.
Yep. Asher missing.
As the Ash is getting collapsed on immediately. A lot of damage coming out into Ash as the Zed comes in, ults the Misfortune, but unfortunately the Ash shutdown goes to the Morgana. I think it was the Tormented Soil that was enough to take down the Ash, and that's not who you want the gold going down on at this point.
Yeah, that's tough.
As the Goon Squad takes another turret, but we do see the Rift Herald getting dropped in the mid lane by the Trundle. That's not going to take the turret down, but Trundle is staying around. He might see if he can put some pressure, but he starts to take the turret aggro. That's not going to be helpful in taking the turret. As the turret stays alive down to about 200 or 300 HP.
Yeah, that's a tough situation. Death bot not really shoved up enough for him to drop it fast enough. Probably needed to abandon ship a lot sooner and work to get that. That being said, that was perfectly executed by...
As we see your turret dive coming out from the Garen in the top lane, ultimate and ignite, just no respect now for the Mordekaiser as he goes 0-4. The 500 gold bounty onto the Garen, 4-0-2, just a lot of damage. We see the Ash rotate top to take another turret, the third turret of the game going over unanswered from the Wombo Combo Wombats. At this point, it's 1,000 gold difference. What can they do to get into it? As we see, there's a 30 CS difference in the mid lane. Bot lane is pretty even, as we do see them do a little bit to get a kill in the mid lane against the Zed. But again, another tower going down. Mordekaiser falling to the Ash arrow as the Misfortune is still trying to push and get whatever gold that she can. Do you think the Veigar can hold this?
I don't think so. I think he's playing with a lot of fire. Garen's ult is almost up. He just needs to clear waves, try to keep him off the tower.
Misfortune trying to get any gold into the team's pockets, but they're still down almost 10k. Looking at the items, the Veigar has parts of Azonia's and parts of... Well, he's got Glacial. So what's the first item for?
That builds into the Hextech.
The GLP, right?
GLP, yep.
Do you think he probably has enough gold to have finished one of those, but having both components, I don't think that's really going to be helpful for Vagar. Needs to get as much damage as possible at this point, but it is tough laning against the Zed.
Yep. Yeah, he doesn't even have enough to complete it at this point, still about 450 short.
As we see Zed ulting onto the Misfortune. Misfortune flashing away, and Zed not able to do enough of the damage down to really push her off. As we see the Goon squad just running it all over the map, taking their third straight at less than 18 minutes. We're going to see an early soul here.
That's impressive, yeah. One point away. Gerald as well. They've got about a minute and a half to bounce on that.
Only 2 objectives have actually been taken against them. The one Rift Herald as they move to their second Rift Herald, and then the mid lane, which wasn't even taken with the first Rift Herald completely. So
yeah. Again, they've got great vision set up, squeezing out the Wombo combos, Drummer to try to even move up.
It looks like Wombo combo knows about this, but there's just nothing that they can do at this point. There's just too much of a gold difference. They're going to have to give that away.
Yeah.
Try to protect this mid and bot lane turrets and just try to farm up, as the waves are just going to keep pushing into them. If it can be coming down to a Vagar cage and an ultimate from Misfortune, that's going to be what they really need. But
yeah,
this Volibear looks scary, man.
He is nigh unkillable with just a couple items. It feels like they just don't have to deal with him.
As we see the Morgana get a Q onto the Volibear, but not enough damage coming out, even through the ultimate of the Misfortune. As we see the Brand just flash into the Vagar wall. Zed coming in, ulting the Vagar. Vagar staying alive, even with Ignite on him, and they push away this turret down to half health. The Volibear is now stealing away the Raptors from the Wombo combo Wombats.
Again, another great tower dive, and lose Brandon. He unfortunately flashed in place.
Yeah,
not ideal, not what we want to see, but
maybe trying to look for the Ignite, because it kind of looked like flashed onto the Vagar, and it's probably meant to ignite there.
But I believe they do take top tower as well during that fight, so all things considered, probably a net game.
Well, the top tower actually went down a few minutes ago, so.
Oh, just kidding.
But we do see more pressure coming in the mid wave, but they are backing away from that.
You gotta just turtle up at this point. Hopefully the other team makes a mistake, dives too far, chases too many kills, but it's gold lead is pretty tough to come back from.
Yeah, the biggest member on the Wombo combo Wombat, 7,300 on the Misfortune, but everyone else is pretty even, around 5,600 or below. Top lane is almost as weak as the support at this point.
Yeah.
Very even gold.
Meanwhile, the Goon Squad ADC Sones has nearly 10,000 in the bank and working on his third item.
Yeah.
That's quite powerful, Ash. Those Qs are going to hurt, and the Ws, rather.
As we see the Ash arrow going onto the Trundle. Trundle deleted immediately along with the Morgana, but Misfortune getting one back kill onto the Brand. And that looks like it's going to be the end of the aggression. Misfortune trying to do a little bit more damage onto the Zed. Zed about 50% HP. The Vagar cage not landing on any key members, as we see the Volibear rotating around behind them. And he also deactivates the turret. What a clean dive as they take the turret. Vagar extremely low, and the ultimate coming down from the Garen onto the Vagar. Another kill, 5-0-3. Very clean Garen game this game.
Yeah, that was a great fight. That Volibear able to stop the tower is very impressive.
As we see a kill go down onto the Zed for the Misfortune, as she goes down immediately. The Volibear doing a lot of damage, healing up a ton. As we see the Mordekaiser taking him in, but just dancing around the inhibitor, very close. Does not land the shield, but comes out of the death realm just to kill the Mordekaiser again. Mordekaiser almost got that Volibear, which would have been huge.
Yeah, it would have been a huge shutdown.
Yeah. 300 gold shutdown, 600 gold going over to the Mordekaiser. We see that he just has one item, doesn't have boots yet. As we see the dragon actually going to spawn here in about 10 seconds.
That's just about perfect timing for them.
Yeah, the Goon squad just clean all over this map. Look at all of that. Look at that ward line. Just, I'm going to highlight this ward line on the camera. Just like perfectly. They see the Trundle walking up. Like they have no problem with what's happening.
Yep.
Garen just pushing them away, just waiting for them to step in. The Trundle steps up. He might jump in. Oh, doesn't get the vision in time.
Yeah, that's close. Yeah. Ocean's still pretty tough. That's just a whole nother bunch of stats for him.
I think the Ocean Soul is really good at snowballing leads more than any other because you get to just sit and push turrets the entire time.
Yeah.
So, like, when it comes down to it, like, there's nothing that the Wombo combo Wombats can do. Like, they can't push them out because they can just heal right back up.
Having that crazy health regen basically means they can take bad fights from here on out, and it really won't matter. They can disengage.
Yeah, we actually see them moving over to the Baron as Ashe takes half of her health to the Baron before any of her team shows up. She doesn't have the life steal other than from her runes and masteries, but that doesn't even matter at this point. Again, the Soul Drake is just keeping her alive from this.
Yep.
We see a clean dragon and the Ashe arrow landing onto the Morgana. Great Ashe arrow from the Baron pit. She had no chance from that Zed. As we see them engage onto the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser flashing out. As we see the ultimate coming down from the Volibear. And then Jeremy coming in with the Garen spin to win onto the Mordekaiser. Zed ulting onto the Veigar. Veigar Zonia's, but not much helping here. Heal coming out for the Misfortune. But the flash has already come down, not up for the Veigar. The Veigar is going to get chased down by the Volibear. What a scary bear to chase out from. And then Trundle jumping into the Ashe as Ashe just kites it away. Misfortune trying to ult the wave, but just not doing enough damage against the super minion and the Baron up wave. As she just sits in the fountain with Morgana. And I think that's going to be game.
That'll do it. Yeah, very clean. Very, very clean game from Goon Squad, pretty much from the start. Picking up that first blood, snowballing top lane, picking up just about every objective. Very nearly perfect on objectives. One time they got scared away from the Rift Herald and one tower in the mid. And other than that, I mean, the vision control was spotless. They picked their fights and
Exactly. Like,
great game from them.
Yeah, we do see a 17,000 gold lead for the Goon Squad, and it was just pretty steady gold lead the entire time for them.
Yeah.
Looking at the scoreboard, who do you think you would award MVP to?
Volibear for sure. He was everywhere he needed to be. Just consistently ganking, getting a lot from those ganks.
Yeah,
he played outstanding today.
That's definitely who I would give it to as well. The 6-1-6, really getting the top lane and the ADC ahead. Not a lot of ganks coming in the mid lane, but of course the Veigar is pretty difficult to gank. But getting the top and the bot lane ahead and securing all of those objectives, I think that was extremely clean for them. At just the vision game, just all over the place against the Wombo combo Wombats. It didn't seem like they had a chance when it came down to the Volibear ganks.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing comes down to the river control. Really not being able to contest there, or picking that, and it snowballed into the mid, and top lane kind of fell apart after maybe the first 5 minutes. But I think ultimately their control of river and Drakes and not being able to get much out of the Rift Herald that they did, or even have a winning lane. That's tough. You're not going to win too many games like that.
Yeah, definitely we saw huge goal discrepancies in every lane. As a team, they fell behind. There wasn't a lot of comeback mechanic from them. We could have seen it, but the Goon squad just really matched them up really well.
They did, yeah. There was never really an opportunity for them to get picked off. They were on time to objectives, and including towers showing up when everybody needed to be there. So that was very impressive.
Yeah, great game coming out from the Goon squad. Any final thoughts, Rogue Otters?
I think ultimately it came down to just who showed up today. The pick and ban didn't seem to favor one side or the other. It wasn't outrageous. I think one team was able to play their composition the way they wanted to, and the other one unfortunately didn't.
Yeah, I think my final thought would be ban Volibear going out. We do see a lot of strength from players who have mastered him on this patch. And just the buffs that have been coming in from Riot over the time is just really putting him in a tier of his own. And players who can play him are really starting to abuse him.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that's going to be a theme for the next couple of weeks of Rift Rivals from some of the junglers.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see these games coming up.
All right. Thank you, Rogue Otters, and thank you, everyone, for your support. That's going to be the end of week 2 of Rift Rivals, Coach Rivals, not Rift Rivals.
Yeah,
we're becoming professionals.
Nice.
So thank you for joining us. Have a great evening. Good night.